Thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Hello, I'm Stephen Willis, host of the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, and I'm joined for his weekly segment by Pratt Rogers, not with Pratt Rogers, by Pratt Rogers. And we're going to talk about Ole Miss sports and all of this stuff. We're post Super Bowl. We are the day before pitchers and catchers report. We're at a time where everything is just kind of slow. Everybody's like decompressing right now.
Well, look, I love the intro, but it's with Pratt Rogers until we start calling it the Locked On Pratt Rogers podcast, Stephen. How about that?
Yeah, there we go. There we
All
go.
right. Yeah, it's kind of you to say. But, while there is a lull, there's a lot going on simultaneously. I'll let you kind of get into it first, but it's finally kind of a time to catch your breath. I guess that's what February's for.
Yes, that's exactly what February's for. And we're going to get to the Ole Miss Kentucky game tonight in just a little bit, but Ole Miss has all the momentum right now. I mean, the Grove Collective, they're signing all the transfer players. They're getting their deals announced. There's some things with the Grove Collective I'm probably going to announce in the very near future as well. But I mean, Nate Kalepo signed. I mean, different transfers are coming in and doing what they have to do. I guess they have to do that in February because in March they're going to start spring football and everything's going to speed back up again. And until this dead period ends, which is now until March 3rd, I guess you kind of get to decompress a little bit, even if you are a coach.
Yeah, and it's short-lived, but you mentioned Nate Kalepo, super excited about that. I saw Hudson Wolf got inked up today. And, that kind of showed me on a little side note on Wolf, it showed me that the staff is confident in him. I don't think it's ever been an ability thing with him. It's just a health thing. So super excited that he's going to be sticking around and battling through as many injuries as he's had. He's a resilient guy. So, outside Grove Collective, totally agree. Recruiting trail is looking good. Maybe Kiffin's catching some big fish offshore. So life's pretty good for everybody right now, Steven.
Yeah. I'm waiting to see exactly what that means. And we probably won't see what that means for a little bit of time, but it feels like they were up to something.
It was a lot of fish in a row. I agree with that. Could have been just having a day on the water, but if I know Kiffin, it probably was a little bit more than that.
Yeah, he was tagging Pete Golding, which makes me think there's a little bit more to it. One funny thing, they're having all this decompressing time and we're talking about that, but when spring football starts, one of the main storyline is the fact that Kedrick Risino needs to develop. Absolutely needs to develop. That is probably the story of spring football, especially with the way the running back situation is set up. But second, and a close second, is the backup quarterback competition that's going to be between Walker Howard and Austin Simmons. Austin Simmons are at a disadvantage playing baseball, but Austin Simmons may be the most talented quarterback that Ole Miss has ever signed.
Man, I will be very interested to see if he just kind of funnels one way or the other after this baseball season. If he just says, man, I love baseball. I mean, my gut tells me he likes football more, but, it'll be interesting to see after he gets a full baseball season under his belt, how he feels about that. I mean,
95 from the left-hand side. I mean,
dirty.
Yeah. I mean, every time they do inter-squad stuff on baseball, he struck out 2 people.
Oh, I need to go watch some film. I saw a small snippet on Twitter about him throwing the baseball or something. It was like a 1-second video. Video is a bad term for what it really was, but I need to go watch just if you've got any practice film or something like that. I would really enjoy just watching him just deal.
I guess the question is, did he go to Hawaii?
I have no clue. I have no clue at all.
I
assume so.
Yeah, if he went to Hawaii and he's on that travel roster, and there's a chance he could play this weekend because they're playing 4 games. They're going to need a ton of pitchers.
I think I don't know how you would equate him to Xavier Rivas in any way, shape, or form, but I mean, clearly we need one extra arm, right? I mean, just looking at it from a X's and O's standpoint in a super simplistic way, I hadn't really thought about that, how that affects his future with, he probably gets an extra shot, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It'll be real interesting. And if he gets in playing baseball, and he looks confident. Like I said, he's striking out people in these inter-squad games. If he does this on the hill against real teams, I think this becomes a different discussion because, I mean, you can pitch for 25 years as a left-handed pitcher in the majors.
Well, I'll be interested to see. Look, I mean, I don't look too much into these like non-conference Hawaii games early in the season. I don't gain a whole lot from that. I kind of look at it through a different lens of football. In football, I feel like when we're playing Mercer and we go up 73-0 or whatever, I'm super excited and like, oh, we're great. I don't gain a whole lot out of the early season games in baseball. So if you drop a game or two like that, if you give him some action and he gets shelled, not the end of the world for me. I'd rather him get the reps early and make the travel team and go do his thing, man. I would be excited about that. I'd love to see him. I don't know what time is it. You guys on till like 2 a.m. or something, right?
I think it starts at like 10:30 or 11 Central, so it's almost midnight Eastern. It's a situation where I look at a box score in the morning.
Yeah, I was about to say I would stay if Austin Simmons got some real time, I would stay up and watch the game. That would be cool.
Yeah, really interesting stuff. And tonight, Ole Miss takes on the Kentucky Wildcats. Ole Miss has won in the state of Kentucky exactly twice, and only one of them happened while the SEC was a thing. So Ole Miss has only beaten Kentucky one time in Rupp Arena in an SEC game, or whatever, Memorial Coliseum even before that. So this is going to be a tall test tonight. Okay. Kentucky's good. They're struggling. They're scuffling, all of that stuff, but this is a must win basketball game for Kentucky. They have Auburn on Saturday. If they lose to Ole Miss, they're going to lose like 4 of 6 or 5 of 7 or something like that. And so knowing that, Kentucky has to have the win tonight.
No, I agree. I think you kind of look at it through the lens of pressure on Kentucky. I was surprised to see that the line I think I saw was Kentucky -8. I thought that was a little high for a team that's been
won one time.
I know, I get it. But I thought that was a little high for a team that's been struggling. I get you don't go into Rupp Arena and just bring home a W pretty easily, but yeah, I was. I thought we would be
a W in this game. He will cement his reputation.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. Dave, season 1. Yeah. With the statue, we could go ahead and create the fund for the statue immediately.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know who, which team beat Kentucky in Kentucky?
I feel like it was relatively recently, Stephen, like last 20 years or so. I shouldn't say that's recent, but I feel like it was like, was it the Provine Posse or something like that?
It was Keith Carter.
Oh gosh. Wow.
Yeah, so Keith Carter was on the team that won the game. It was in 98. So it was nearly 30 years ago.
Wow. That's
disgusting. There's a whole lot of sad that happens when you're talking about an Ole Miss fan and Kentucky games. I mean, whenever I talked all week about Kentucky being a house of horrors, yeah, it's been terrible. There you want to go up there and do well and you want to handle everything, but something always weird happens. This is one of those games where if you get to the 10-minute mark in the second half, you got a great chance to win the basketball game because Kentucky mentally cannot be all there.
Yeah, and look, it's no surprise they're running with a young team. I think they've only got I feel like it's 2 upperclassmen that get any meaningful playing time at all. I think everybody else is a freshman or sophomore. That's nothing new to Kentucky, but especially Kiffin always preaches the mentally tough, big team effort. That's hard to pitch for a younger team sometimes. And I think that's kind of one thing Ole Miss has the advantage of with Beard is we've got a quasi older team, and we're going to be older and more experienced than Kentucky, seen more basketball. So I kind of look at that as a positive. If we're hanging around in the second quarter or second half, excuse me, that it could be a dogfight at the end.
So are you a baseball guy, like a Major League Baseball guy?
Not really, Steven, to be honest with you. My uncle is like the biggest baseball nut ever, and so I love it through him. I don't keep up with it on a day-to-day basis like you do. Yeah, I know you're a Detroit Tigers guy, right?
Lifelong. I've been that way for like a year.
Lifelong. I've been that way for like a year. Okay, all right. What made you become a Tigers fan?
Their spring training home is about 15 minutes from my house.
Oh, nice. Cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So I get to go see them play. Let's see my games this year. I'm going to a game to watch them play the Astros.
Oh,
I got
nice.
the Yankees, the Mets, the Braves, and the Red Sox. Those are my 5 games that I'm going to check this spring.
That'd be super cool. Is that the hat you're sporting there? Is that a new
Yes,
new
this
lid?
this is their spring training hat that they're wearing. I actually just really like it. But yeah, I'm pretty fired up. Pitchers and catchers report tomorrow.
Well, look, I don't know if I guess we're kind of taking a tangent here, but I don't know if you know the Mississippi Braves recently didn't get their contract renewed or whatever. So I don't know what happens to Trustmark Park. I assume the Ole Miss Mississippi State midweek game continues to play there. I guess I guess that doesn't change, but I don't know. The future of that stadium, unfortunately.
The day I left Mississippi for boot camp, which was, I went to Ole Miss and all of that, but the day that Mississippi became a former home of mine, and I was in the airport, I walked by, Nolan Ryan was there. That was the day he bought the Jackson Generals and they was moving them to Round Rock.
I did not know he bought the Jackson Generals. I never knew that.
Yeah, the Round Rock Express is what was formerly the Jackson Generals.
I just remember I was young. I just remember they dissipated or whatever. I didn't exactly know the details behind it. Wow, that's awesome. I did not.
Yeah.
That makes it a little cooler, I guess, if they're going to leave town.
Dude was a huge man, huge. It's like almost like just country strong. He wasn't even like super fit, just country strong. He's just that
That's
guy.
Awesome.
Yeah. It was pretty cool indeed. But opening day is this weekend, Friday, Ole Miss at Hawaii. We talked about how these games, you just want them to get some work and be ready to go. Ole Miss has had some arm problems, but I've heard rumors that they knocked the snot out of the baseball, and I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Man, I am totally amped to see that too. I feel like every report everywhere is this team will be able to hit the baseball. So maybe that kind of gets us out of a little bit of pitching trouble is the optimistic way to look at it, I guess.
Yeah, it should be really good. And Major League Baseball opening day is, I don't know, about a month and a half away. So I don't want to rush that because then my spring training goes away. And I love spring training. It's so much fun. Unless somebody is done and lived spring training with no consequences whatsoever, it is so much fun. Yeah, it just is. And like I will go to 5 games over the course of 28 days, and the games start at noon, and it's just cool. The sun's out. It's great.
What's the at noon? What is the stadium capacity at noon?
Packed.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
There are people that take vacation and come down for a week just to go to spring training games.
Way.
Yeah, it's absolutely, if you want to see what an absolute zoo situation, the Tigers and Yankees game, when the Yankees are playing the Tigers, there's probably 9,000 people in that stadium and they can only hold about 7,000. It takes 2 hours to get out of the parking lot. Yeah, it's nuts.
Wow. Well, look, that'll be super cool. You making any Ole Miss baseball games this year, you think?
No, probably probably not likely to go up for a weekend series. They're not playing Central Florida or anybody down here.
Yeah.
I would have to look at the schedule, but I doubt it. Now,
Yeah.
there's a chance they could hit a regional and end up in Miami or something like that, and then all bets are off.
Fair.
But we'll see what happens. Should be pretty cool. Anyway, thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Pratt Rogers, thank you so much, man, for stopping by, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, man. See ya.